What's up, everybody? It's Ron. Uh, Wanted to give a kind of late response to the really pretty good response that Manda gave to my earlier video, and I'm going to try to keep the editing to a minimum because people complain about that. Also to Phantasm, who put up a response briefly, and it's no longer listed as a response to the video, but whatever. Thanks for allowing it as a response to the original, and thanks for getting involved in the dialogue. That's really all I care about here on YouTube. Anyway, just wanted to briefly talk about some of the things you'd said in that video. First of all, one of the things you bring up is the whole thing about Hitler, and I only really mentioned that in passing. I in no way meant to say that Christianity was the reason that Hitler launched the Holocaust or anything like that. But at the same time, I mean, he was clearly not an atheist either, and people do make the claim that he was following Nietzsche's philosophy. I'm assuming that stems from the whole idea that Nietzsche had, or that Nietzsche had about the Übermensch, however it's pronounced. So he was, and some people even said Hitler is an ultra-Darwinist or something stupid like that, but I mean, only Hitler knows why Hitler did those things, and I think it's really not that important to throw stones at each other and saying, oh, Hitler was a Christian, Hitler was an atheist, whatever. I really just brought that up to imply that, when Ravi said that it was a godless atheist worldview that caused the carnage of the 20th century, it was really more complicated than that. That's why I brought that up. Second of all, the thing about evolution. Like, everyone talks about evolution and says, oh, well, see, it's just a theory. In common usage, the term theory is often applied to things that you just think up. It's like people will say, like, I have this theory about how things work, or I have this theory about why I didn't get hired for this job I wanted, or something like that. But it's not that kind of theory. Gravity is a theory. Being a theory doesn't imply that it's scientifically unsound. And there's some statistic about the number of scientists that consider evolution to be a valid theory, and it's something like 99 or 98%, where the general public, it's only like 50% of people think that evolution is valid. So, I mean, that discrepancy, I think, is good to keep in mind. Going on to the the social argument for God. Now, this, first of all, this is not so much about, why we should believe in God. It's more that, if everyone did believe in God, then society would be better. It's sort of like God as an almost omnipotent policeman, that, people must conform to these social protocols for fear of getting punished by God. And also, you mentioned in your post that whoever the society and human rights and morality comes from whoever is the strongest dictator, unless everyone believes in a God. And this, I think, is a pretty cynical view of humanity. I mean, there are countless people, and I consider myself one of them, and not necessarily atheist, or not necessarily theist or Christian or agnostic, anything, that I certainly am, and you are too, from the videos I've seen of yours, who are fighting for human rights everywhere. And granted, in practice, I mean, people's rights are going to be infringed upon, but I don't think that we need to have a God in order to establish human rights, or to establish morality even. I mean, most of the morality that I practice and that many atheists practice, and if you're interested, you should look up some of the atheists on here. And they're not baby eaters or devil worshippers or evil people. I mean, they're just people. And I think that there's a huge overlap between Christian morality and just what makes the most sense, and what leads to the greatest happiness in people. I mean, your motivation for morality could just as easily be your own happiness. I mean, people derive happiness from the happiness of others, so why do we need to all fear God in order to have good morality? Shit, I'm sorry about all these edits, man, but Anyway, but Amanda, thanks you so much for responding. You know, I just want to talk with people. Like, I've never really had an open avenue to, you know, like openly discuss my atheism and my beliefs. And you know, as much as this may be pissing you off, you know, I'm really appreciating the opportunity, and just the video responses are great. And I don't care about, you know, there's some atheists out there that say, oh, we must all be militant atheists because, like, all religion is destructive, and I don't believe that. I just don't. I believe it's possible for religion and atheism to coexist, and just as long, and I say this in my second video about, you know, don't infringe upon any of my rights on this earth, and I don't have a problem with it. Okay, also, I just wanted to talk about, real quickly about Phantasm's response, which he took down after a couple of days, but it's a little more fire and brimstone-y, but I definitely appreciate you getting back to me, and, you know, I kind of want to hear what people have to say, you know, and although I disagree with you, especially on the point where you say, okay, well, how can it be any more obvious? Well, to me, I mean, how can it be any less obvious? I mean, as I said earlier in video number 2 again, there is a argument that God could exist, which essentially circumvents normal logic because God is so omnipotent. Basically, God has the power to defy normal logic, but I feel that whatever is the case with God, He's completely irrelevant to our lives, and, you know, well, this is the God test that I'm going to do, okay? If God does exist and if God is relevant to my life, I want Him to lift this pencil right here. Can you see it? This pencil. So, if God lifts this pencil, and, you know, you kind of chide me for saying, okay, well, you've just closed off, you're just closed-minded, you're not open to the idea of there being a God. Well, if this thing raises, and I'm talking to God right now, I mean, if God does exist, He can raise this pencil, and I'll go to church every week from now on. Okay, I'll leave it there for a while. Also, you say something like, okay, well, if Christians are wrong, then we got nothing to worry about, or something like that, but I just feel bad for you because you're going to burn in hell. But, you know, I've talked about how tyrannical God is, and, you know, I wouldn't want to be in heaven with the guy, you know? This guy who's lighting people on fire for not worshiping Him the right way, and, you know, the pencil still hasn't moved. So I don't want to be in heaven with this tyrannical God. You know, to me, if that really were the case, then it would be no difference, heaven and hell, you know? Also, you don't take into account all the countless religions out there. I mean, every Muslim thinks you're going to hell. So, you know, what does that argument mean? Anyway, thanks to everyone who responded. You know, this is why I got involved in YouTube. And I'll let you know when this pencil starts moving. Alright, have a good night, people.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube, from a gang called Niggers with Attitude. When I'm called off, I gotta saw it off. Squeeze a trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you fuck with me.